Champions weekend is a big weekend. You need to have horses competing there that weekend. You know, it's so many good races on us on our two best tracks. It's what's needed, and it's shown. It's been a huge success down the last couple of years. They seem to improve horses here. They get into the system and they improve. And like, I'd love to have more 2-year-old winners or 3-year-old maiden winners first time out, but maybe it's the way we're training them. They just seem to be coming along and they slot in. But at the start of the year, you want to have Saturday horses and you want to have them slotting into the right places, you know, that kind of way. So we do. Yeah, we're lucky. The horses run well at the Curragh. Second horse is Shazan. He's going to go to Roscommon for the Winners of One next week. He's not a bad horse now, that fella. He ran in the Group 3 the last time. He was a bit short for me. Stayed on well. Mile and a quarter should suit him well. Number 3 is Shartash. Shartash messed up the last time in the stalls. I was hoping to run him. I thought he might win the last day and he could go to the Haydock Sprint, so we might keep him there for the Renaissance Group 3. Number 4 is Carry the One. He runs in the 7 furlong handicap champions weekend. He's been very consistent this year until his last run. I suppose the heavy ground didn't really suit him. He's stuck in between lots. He's kind of top of the handicap and just falls short in the listed and group races, but very, very consistent. Number 5 with the favourite daughter, that's Blues Emperor. Just got touched off the other day in the Cambridgeshire. Everyone's talking about Wesley Joyce. He wasn't as good last week on Blues Emperor, was he? Number 7 is Take Heart. Nice horse. He's in the mile and a quarter Northfields handicap at the Curragh, or at the Curragh on Champions weekend. I think he's rated 92. He's a 3-year-old. He might sneak into the bottom of it. He'll be one of our better chances on the weekend. He's really going well at the moment. Kirkira, number 8. I was going to run her in the mile and a quarter handicap, but I might keep her for the Group 3 the following week in Goran, the Hurry Harriet or the Cordell Laverick. Is it one of those? It's the Cordell Laverick, yeah. So listen, she stayed here to be a group or a listed, try and get a stakes win with her. She's coming back, ran well first time out, but knocked the stuffing out of her a bit, so it's taken her a while. So she's coming back. She's hopefully be capable of winning the listed race. Number 14 is Ladies Church. Ran her on soft ground twice this year. Didn't really like it. Fancied her a little bit going to the York last week. They went so fast, she never really got on the bridle, so she'll go for the Flying 5. Number 9 is the one we missed there, Escaline. She was just touched off at the Curragh. I think she's going to be a good stayer next year. I think whatever she does this year will be a bonus. She could make up into Cesarewitch filly next year. She's only 3 there now, and I might run her in Doncaster. There's a filly's staying race there in Doncaster. We've had stronger team. I like Caddo Bell as a filly, but that probably race is going to be too strong for her. But she could run well if everything fell right for her. You know, that kind of way. Listen, I don't know what happened the last time to her. As I said, she went to England. I thought she was a favourite's chance of winning. She was going really well at home, but maybe the whole experience of, only having 2 runs before she went over. Jamie Spencer said she was a little bit hard to saddle and she was keen to the start. She boiled over and she never really settled in the race. It was a slowly run race. So I'm going to forgive her because I did think she was progressive. I did think she'd run really, really well in that race in Ascot. So we'll give her one more chance. I know it's the matron, but if we ride her to run well, she could run well. I won a mile and a half there early in the year, listed race at the Curragh. Yeah. A mile and a quarter was a bit.
10 furlongs at York.
Yeah, it was 10 furlongs at York, and he probably didn't go quick enough. Ben did say he wasn't flowing along. He didn't flow along in York the way he did at the Curragh, and he never really got it. They went slow and they quickened up by him, but he's only beaten 5 lengths by pretty decent horses. So we'll ride him a bit more quietly, take a lead. Mile and a half should suit him really well in Leopardstown. Carry the One, very consistent, very high in the weights. I might put one of the claimers on him. He might need a bit of help with getting claimed. And Fast Tara will only run if the ground is on the easy side. Put the blinkers on. I did think the last time, I think running her in Goodwood was probably a mistake, and it probably left a bit of a mark on her. She didn't really want to go the other day, and then they went so quick the other day, she kind of never really got into the race. But again, only beaten 5 lengths. These sprinters, if you're on the right side of the track, if you're following the right horse, you never know what can happen. I still think she is kind of a Group 2 standard filly, and if she put it all together, there's a big day in her. But we have a couple of unexposed 3-year-olds there on the way up. You know, Saviour Love, he could run there if he gets in. Angel's Wrath will definitely run there. As I say, she'll be competing in group and listed standard. You know, she's listed placed, but maybe dropping back to a handicap will give her a chance at a big pot. And I suppose Take Heart, the way he's progressing, he's probably the best chance of a winner all week or weekend. He's progressing nicely. If he gets in, he's probably our best chance of a winner. Well, because sometimes you kind of think, geez, that looked good, and then you go up and say, oh, you think he was travelling really well, he's hanging bad, so he was like that. So there's no, like, as I said, real, you're not looking for anything dramatic, it's just consistency every day. And when you're out there every day, you see the little different things. Do you know that kind of way? That's why you have to be there all the time. I noticed during COVID, I don't know if I got to be a better trainer or what, but I was here all the time. Didn't go anywhere. So I just said you have to be here all the time. Just reconfirmed that you have to be here, you can't miss anything.
So Johnny, thanks very much for taking time to speak to me. It's obviously a very exciting time for the Irish, coming up to a big meeting like the Irish Champions Festival. Yeah,
it's the biggest 2 days in Irish racing. You know, we've got Leopardstown on the Saturday, Champion Stakes, Matron Stakes, big handicaps, loads of prize money, and then we rock on to the Curragh on the Sunday. You know, there are the 2 best tracks in Ireland, showcasing, you know, all that's good about Irish racing. Best trainers, best jockeys, best owners in the world, and they're all going to be in Ireland those 2 days.
And are you happy with how your team is shaping up? You've had a good season so far, and you've got some real live chances coming to the weekend.
Yeah, things are going well. So far, so good. The season's gone well. It's very competitive this year. You know, we've got Mashio runs in a 1.5 mile Group 3. We've a couple in the handicap, Carry the One, Fast Tara, and of course we're going to run Caddo Bell in the Matron. It's a race that's been lucky to us in the past. She has a bit to find on form, but I think with the hood on her and riding her a little bit different, she could run a good race in the Matron. Our best chances probably on the Curragh on the Sunday in the Northfields handicap. Angel's Wrath, Saviour Love didn't really handle the Dundalk last time out, and probably our best chance of the weekend is Take Heart. He's won his last 2 races. I think a 1.25 mile the Curragh will suit him really well, and he's a progressive 3-year-old, and I think that's what you need to win these races.
And you had a massive day last year, obviously the 1, 2, 3 in that handicap, so hopefully repeat again this year.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind taking 1 anyway. Yeah, it was a long weekend up until then, but you know, it was one of those great days. You're watching the big screen, your 3 horses were fighting out the finish. I didn't really care which of them won, although the owners were all around me. But no, it was a massive day, and if we could repeat that this year, it would be great.
So it's been a festival that's been kind of lucky to you in the past, and just preparing for it as a trainer, is it a whole different story to being kind of a jockey coming into these big meetings? It's obviously a lot more pressure on you this time.
Yeah, well, sure, like as a jockey, you're only picking up the rides kind of the week before or 2 weeks before, whereas a trainer, you're kind of making the plans, you know, months in advance, hoping that the horses can get here. But no, it's very satisfying as a trainer. If you get horses good enough to run on the weekend, it's great. But then to get a winner, you know, it's the icing on the cake.
And just speaking of jockeys, there's obviously a lot of exciting jockeys in the yard. Ben Cohen, Jamie Powell, but I think everyone got a big kick out of Wesley Joyce last week, getting the first winner back. Yeah, it was great for Wesley. You know, he's had a hard time. You know, really bad fall there in Galway. You know, over 12 months ago. And when I seen him first, I thought, you know, I don't know if this man is going to get back. But over recent months, he's worked really hard. And as soon as he got the licence back and he started riding on the track again, you knew the spark was back. Everybody was so happy for him last night. He's very popular around the yard. He's very popular in the weigh room. You know, he's a very talented young man. And it's just, yeah, everybody was really thrilled. You know, he's ridden a couple for us. He's been hitting the target. But for him to get his winner last night was, it was special. And he's a product of the Racing Academy, as are yourself. What are your thoughts on the changes that are taking place there? Yeah, it's disappointing. It's very sad because you know, it was lucky. If there was no race, I might not have even found my way into racing. So
know, it's bad at the time, but maybe something like this needed to happen, that we shake it up a bit, because in recent years it's gone a bit stale, kind of lost its kind of purpose. Like, it was built for one reason only, is to, you know, to look after young kids or young people, have them in a safe environment, have a bit of discipline and a bit of organisation in their life. So, you know, it's sad at the moment, but hopefully something good will come out of it and it'll get back to its core values.
And just kind of going back to your runners, you've Shartash also going to Haydock, but he's entered in Haydock the Saturday of the Irish Champion Stakes.
He's not going to run. He's not going to run. I'm going to keep him for the Curragh for the Renaissance Stakes.
But even for yourself, you had a great association with Aga Khan as a jockey. It must be great having all these good horses for them in the yard as well as a trainer.
Yeah, very special for me to train for the Aga Khan. You know, he was a big supporter of mine when I was riding. I rode for John Ox. I was stable jockey for him for many years. So to have horses now training for him, it's I feel very privileged. I feel lucky, and we just need to find that one special horse. With a big operation like that, they will come. You just have to be patient, and hopefully he rocks up in our yard.
And you're kind of getting more successful as the years go on. You're getting kind of higher quality horses. But how hard is it to compete now as a trainer in Ireland? It's with so many superpowers.
No, it's very hard in Ireland at the moment. The standard of horses have gone up in the last couple of years, especially. You know, the 2-year-old race in Ireland, all you have to do is look at the pedigrees, look at the standard of the horse that's running them. So they are very hard to win. It's getting more competitive every year. But you know, that's where we want to be. We want to be competing against the best. And you know, if you have a horse in Ireland that's capable of winning a race, well then you know they're of a high standard, and you've done a good job. And
you've broken the gap already. You've got the classic win with Sonny Boy listed in the St. Ledger. If you could win any race next year throughout the flat season, which one would it be?
Well, I always said the Epsom Derby is the one I wanted to win as a jockey, and I was lucky enough to win it 3 times. So I think as a trainer, to have a good Guineas horse, you know, to have a good top class miler, it's you know, Guineas, Irish Guineas, St James's Palace, Sussex Stakes, you know, them kind of races. They're the real top races. But hey, listen, I feel very privileged to win any race because I know how hard it is. So, you know, you just have to take the good days as they come, and as I say, get over the bad ones quickly.
Thanks very much, Johnny. I'm sure the Guineas winner won't be too far coming.